Good day everyone, I'm Alberto Undayoy, second BS Criminology from Section 4. Today I will have going to report about the video to chapter 1 to 7. Chapter 1, Birth and Childhood. Republic Act 1425, its purpose and importance. The Republic Act 1425, or otherwise known as the Rizal Law, which was approved on June 12, 1956, is an act mandating all public and private institutions, including state colleges and universities, to include Dr. Jose Rizal life works and writing as a course across program. Dr. Jose Rizal theories and life works and writings in the curricula invention in achieving the ideals of freedom and nationalism, for which our hero live and lived for. The law was written Senator Jose P. Laureate with a compressed version of House Bill No. 5561, which came out of April 19, 1956 in the House of Representatives, and Senate Bill No. 428 on April 13, 1956 by the Committee on Education, which were led by Kong Jacobo Gonzales and Senator Claro Rito, or otherwise known as Noli Pelon. By honoring him, I can best remember with special honors and vision his life and works that shape the national character, his novels, the patriotism in the minds of youth, especially during the formative and decisive years in school. Ultimately, an conclusion of the life work and writing of Dr. P. Rizal will develop moral character, personal discipline, civic conscience, and strengthening the duties of citizenship. Silent lecture. The basic text to be included in the curricula, aside from his life and works, are his two lead novels, The Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Number 2. All academic institutions should keep an adequate number of both original and inspected edition of The Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, as well as Rizal other works and biography and Filibusterismo, as well as Rizal other works and biography and translation of Rizal writing and other works shall be free of change and made available all. Next, chapter 2, Education. 2.1. First teacher. Rizal was first called in their home by his mother, Doña Tudora, a remarkably good and educated woman herself. She was Rizal's first teacher, and the love taught him the alphabet and the prayer. He also taught Pipi to read the Holy Bible in their moments together. Don Theodora would tell him many stories which later fed his strong interest in poetry, but of all that he recorded in his diary. Pipi and the story of the monk. One night all the family except my mother and myself went to bed early. Why, I do not know, but we two remained sitting alone. The candles had already been put out, the hand been blown out in their gloves by wonderful lighting in the world. The room was dimly lighted by a single night of coconut oil and the Filipino homes light burns through the night. It quiz out just at the break, awake people by its fluting. My mother was teaching me to read in a Spanish reader called the Children's Friends el Medio de los Niños. This was quite a rare book and old copy. It had lost its cover and my sister and cleverly made a new one. She had placed a sheet of thick blue paper over the back and then covered with a piece of cloth. This night, my mother became impatient with hearing me read so poorly. Did not understand Spanish and so I could not read with expression picture on its page. Then she told me to listen and she began to read. When her sight was good, she read very well. She could recite well and she understand verse making. Too many times during Christmas vacation, my mother corrected my critical composition and she always made valuable criticisms. I listened to her full of children institution and marveled and nice humbling face with she read from those pages the phrases that read silly stopped me at every bit. Perhaps I grew up listening to sound that had no meaning to me. Perhaps I lacked control anyway. Next, chapter 3. Jose Rizal travels. First travel abroad, 1882-1887. Departure. After 4 years in medicine, Jose Rizal left the country to continue his studies in Europe. He boarded Salvador bound to Singapore on May 3, 1882. His departure was known by his brother Fasciano, his two sisters, some close relatives and friends because he knew that if he will inform his parents, they will not permit him. Before his departure, his brother Fasciano told Jose to use his caste name Jose Mercado so he may not be interrogated by the Spanish authorities. In fact, his friends in Ateneo de Municipal handed him a letter of recommendation which Jose might present it to some members of the Jesuits in Barcelona. Apart from the discontentment of the Antiguous teaching method of instruction and the racial prejudice of the Dominican professor, Jose Rizal wanted to observe the culture, government, laws, the industrial and business in the Europe nation because he knew that he'll be playing a big role in liberating the Filipino people from the cruelty and oppression of the Spanish authorities. While on board, Jose Rizal find his way to enjoy by observing the different people, their behavior, race, and culture. He noticed that Most of the passengers in the ship were Spaniard, British, and Indian. He thought of himself that he was the only Filipino in the ship. His life in the ship was a bit boring despite of his conversation with Donido Litza, the Austrian ship captain. He did sketching as the ship passed fellow passenger whom he defeated many times. After five after 5 days, they reached Singapore, where he spent 2 days sightseeing the sight of the beautiful city. After sightseeing in Singapore, Jose Rizal decided to transfer to a French steamer ship Dima to transport him to Europe. The ship reached Point Cali, where they stayed for a day before heading for Colombo, the capital of Ceylon, Sri Lanka. Next, chapter 4. Excel. Arrest and the degree of deforestation. As agreed, Jose Rizal went back to Malacanang. This where the Governor General asked him again of his plan to return in Hong Kong, but Jose refused affirmatively. The Governor General told him that there were leaflets put in his baggage during their stay in Hotel the Orient, but Jose Rizal said that the leaflet entitled Pobres Frailes for Friars made the Governor General dismissed and placed Jose Rizal under arrest despite of his explanation. The Governor General did not believe him and instead told his nephew Ramon to accompany him to and for Santiago. It was alleged that during their stay at Hotel the Orient, the nephew of Archbishop Nucialida went to this Rome and put the leaflet into his sister's baggage. After he was placed under arrest, the degree deposition was published on July 7, 1892, and Greta de Manila. The degree of deposition came as a result of his possession of the leaflet is brought with him upon his arrival in Hong Kong. This was further because of his 2 novels, which were considered by the French as anti-Catholic and anti-cleric. The prayers that he attempted to decrease them by means of his 2 novels, especially the helpful illustration of the degree called Three Stores of the Nation, referring to the Comborsa, where Jose Rizal dedicated his second novel. He once said that three was no other salvation of our country, Philippines, but separation from Mother Spain. It was believed that Governor General's decision was prompted by the advice of the Jesuit to exile him, Jose and Dapitan, because they knew the world bishop their science. The superior of the Jesuit mission was by them. A letter was given to him and introduced him to Father Antonio, where he could temporarily fund the publication of the degree of deposition. Jose Rizal was not yet exiled but was temporarily detained, and for Santiago his stay incommunicado passion with a scribe use of chair to table basin and mention of mirror in his statement. Jose Rizal mentioned that his room had 3 windows, one with statement of Jose Rizal mentioned and bird looking at the patio, and another one bird looking at the whole city and the seashore, and third served as a door which was locked. Next, chapter 5, Trial and Execution. Back in Port Santiago and the initial investigation. On November 3, 1896, the steamer Colon arrived in Manila. It gave too much happens on the part of the Spanish friar and government official because of the soul of revolution that they believe in could now be made responsible for a crime he had planned. Jose Rizal was back to the Philippines as a prisoner. He was strictly guided on when he was brought back to Port Santiago. He was then excommunicado for almost 4 weeks in his prison cell. Meanwhile, the Spanish official was so busy gathering and fabricating evidence against him. The man responsible for the return of Rizal was called Francisco Alive. It was him who required the Governor General Blanco to immediately order the return of Jose Rizal, for he accused him of organizing the insurrection against the Spanish authorities in Manila. On November 30, summoned Jose Rizal to appear before him for an initial investigation of his case. There he was informed of the offense charged against him as well as the evidence to support the charge. The were consist of documentary and oral evidence. Among other were documents, letters, and even lyrics of condemned allegedly written by him. On the other hand, the oral testimonies consisted among other were the oral statement of Aguido del Rosario and Francisco Quezon. The two identified him as the head of the Katipunan. Statement were also taken from Salvador Jason Diosdado Arellano and Timoteo Pais. After the investigation, Colon Alive submitted his finding to his Excellency Governor General Blanco, where he appointed Captain Rafael Dumiki to act as special judge advocate. As expected, Captain Dumigis found probable cause and recommended the prosecution of Jose Rizal for rebellion. With the endorsement, Governor General Blanco forwarded the case to Nicholas Pena. The latter ordered that the accused should face trial before a military court. He further decreed that Jose Rizal be officer as a cost from a list of officers submitted to him. Jose Rizal chose the base travel and Dread Luis was familiar to Jose Rizal being his brother Jose travel bodyguard before. Finally, on December 11, the chains were formally read to Jose Rizal. These were rebellion, sedition, and illegal association. Jose Rizal pleaded not guilty. Next, chapter 7, the love of his life. Aside from his mother, Jose Rizal life would not be fascinating without his romantic affairs to several women where he met from different tastes. He cited Segunda Katipa. Segunda was a pretty 14 years old lady from Lipo, Batangas who is met during one of his visits of his maternal grandmother at Troso, Manila. His old grandmother was a friend of the Katigbak family from Lipa. When he at his grandmother's house, he saw other guests. One of them was an attractive young lady who made his heart. He came to know her because of her sister Olympia, who happened to be a close friend of her. Jose Rizal considered this feeling a love at first sight, but their relationship did not last because Segunda was their love was already engaged to bear. Tournament Manuel Lewis. Jacinta Aboldo Rosa Miss A. Shortly after his relationship with Segunda Katigbak, he met another girl who he called as Miss L. Jose Rizal described her with seductive and attractive eyes, but like Segunda, the relationship did not last because of his unforgettable memory with his first love, Segunda, and the disapproval from his father, Leonor Valenzuela. When Jose was a sophomore in his medical studies at the University of Santo Tomas, he met this charming lady named Leonor Valenzuela. She was the daughter of Capitan Juan and Capitana Sandy Valenzuela. Jose Rizal was a frequent visitor, especially during special occasions, because of his ability to preach using his knowledge in chemistry. He courted Leonor Valenzuela by sending love notes in invisible length with could only be read when hitting over a feather lamp. But strangely, their romance ended without proposing marriage to Orang. Leonor Rivera. His next romance was with Leonor Rivera, a cousin from Camiling. Locke Rizal described Leonora as tender as a building flower with kindly wistful eyes. To handle their relationship from their parents and friends, Leonor used a fan named James. The mother of Leonora, despite she resolves her son-in-law, since there was a tradition that time that marriage must be arranged first by both presence of forgiveness. Thank you, ma'am, and God bless. Stay safe.